This is the first interaction that you are having post the release.
Yeah, it's my first interaction with the media post the release. Yeah.
How does it feel? 4 days?
I can for a change say I'm well slept.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been Fighter's been just an exhaustive journey and now so fulfilling.
Yeah.
So I got good sleep.
I believe you have lived with the subject of Fighter for 9 years. 2015 is when you wanted to make this aerial action film. From then till now, how did your story evolve?
I mean, obviously, it started out with the desire to make an Air Force film.
Yeah.
With absolutely no background of Army, Defense, Air Force.
Yeah.
Zero background, just the desire to do a film on the Air Force, the glory of the Air Force. And fortunately, I found my partner, Raman, who is from the Defense and who had a subject based on the Air Force. And obviously, it was a very different film. And I just loved the intricacy and the detailing of what he was bringing in. Authenticity, which is what I was looking for. So if I wanted to do a particular scene, I didn't know how to actually maneuver it with authenticity.
Okay.
So I should discuss as much. I want to do this. What will this person say? How will they do it? So I got into the depth of it. So for years we did the analysis before crafting the screenplay. So yeah, it helped me a lot to have a partner like Raman.
Correct. But what changed? What was your vision back in the day?
So my vision actually is something that to give the audience something new every time.
Yeah.
I don't want to rehash action set pieces, the same set pieces again. I got a little bored of it. To constantly do that, because there's only that much you can do with stunts and spectacles. I just wanted to lift my game, challenge myself, challenge my team, and do something that India has not has just not experienced before. And filmmakers have not ventured there before. So when you talk about this, you'll do one sequence of an aerial battle or something like that. I want an entire film set in that. So I just wanted to challenge myself, and I think it's just subconsciously I do this to myself. I don't have a plan for that. I just subconsciously keep pushing myself and challenging myself and just pushing my boundaries. And Fighter is a result of that.
But like you said, aerial is a new genre for the Indian cinema. And when you were making it, were there any discussions within how will the audience react to the aerial space? Because there are so many people who say aerial masses ne nahi dekha hai. Of course, there is reference for the multiplex audience because they have seen films from the West. But for masses, it's like a completely new genre. So how will they take on to it?
To be very honest, Himesh, ये मैंने सोचा नहीं. अगर मैंने सोचा होता तो मैं करता नहीं. क्योंकि अगर बोला था यार ऑडियंस ये कैसे लेगी, कैसे करेगी, नहीं यार. I think audiences we underestimate audience and feel यार if you start thinking उनको ये नहीं चलेगी, that is the drawback of a filmmaker. That's where we fail. We should never underestimate them. Give them a product which is relatable. More importantly, relatable. Where they can relate and connect with it, and then you can do anything. I set a film in space also. Look at Gravity. I mean, film like Gravity, it's set in space, and just about one person's alone in space. But it connects with you. You're waiting for that person to touch Earth. And when she does, you feel the gratification. So you just need to make a film that connects, and the audience will come. Just don't underestimate them.
What surprised me the most about Fighter? I went in expecting an aerial action thriller. But what surprised me the most was the drama and the emotional quotient that the film had to offer. There are moments in the first half, second half where you cry. So how did you come across? I think this is the most dramatic film that you have made in your career. So
very true.
What was your approach to that?
Again, subconsciously, Ramesh, I realized that when I saw the film. Also, obviously, in the writing. The writing was such that I used to always get teary-eyed and there used to be a lump in my throat when I used to narrate it or discuss it. And I knew it. Those scenes, the 3 key scenes that are emotional in the film, they are the highlights. I knew it on the writing. But what happens is जब वो लिखते हैं और जब हम शूट करते हैं वो काफ़ी चीज़ें बदल जाती हैं. These scenes translated exactly how I had written them, how I had perceived them. They turned out exactly like that on the screen. So it is so gratifying. Whenever I used to see the edit, I used to feel the same emotion, same choke that I used to feel when I was writing or getting it with my writers. when we used to write them, when we used to discuss them, or when I used to narrate it to somebody, I used to feel the lump, and I used to feel the lump there. And I thought, oh my God, every time it was embarrassing. मैं mixing room में जाता था, I used to see that and I used to have tears in my eyes. It was embarrassing. I think my team knew कि now sir will cry. So it is just embarrassing, downright embarrassing with my team. And now audience is saying that.
Yeah.
It's so gratifying, so fulfilling as a director that what you feel, audience is feeling.
Feeling the same. Yeah.
So वो connect कहते हैं.
Correct.
वो connect है, which is what is so satisfying as a filmmaker.
True. But as a director, you like action more, or having seen this reaction on the dramatic scenes, the way you reacted, I'm not saying the audience wise, is it the drama?
You know, if you can combine action and drama, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Action, drama, emotion आ जाए ना तो आपको सब ऑडियंस मिल जाएगी.
हाँ.
सब आएंगे. क्या होता है कभी कभी एक्शन में ना एक सेक्शन एलियनेट हो जाता है.
Yeah.
कल कमाल की बात हुई जब ऋतिक, अनिल सर, करण, अक्षय, मैं गए एक थिएटर स्क्रीनिंग, एक रिएक्शन देखने, सरप्राइज ऑडियंस. तो जब स्क्रीनिंग चल रही थी तो आई जस्ट टर्न टू सी द ऑडियंस. अंधेरे में थे वो लोग, ऑब्वियसली पिक्चर देख रहे थे, एंड आई जस्ट रियलाइज कितनी फैमिलीज आई हैं. एंड इट इज मतलब दे वर old people, really old people, that when the film got over they had sticks and they had to hold, you know, दीवार पकड़ के they had to go down. I couldn't tell you, my heart was so full seeing that my God, the generations जो आई हैं फाइटर देखने के लिए, बच्चों से लेके बूढ़े तक, मतलब उन्होंने एफर्ट कितना किया होगा घर से निकल के थिएटर तक आने के लिए.
Correct.
So that I think the drama has brought them. Not just action. एक्शन के लिए यंग लोग आए थे, वो लोग ड्रामा के लिए आएंगे. और क्यों आए हैं? क्योंकि उन्होंने सुना है लोगों से, यार इसमें पिक्चर बहुत इमोशनल है, बहुत अच्छी पिक्चर है, कहानी अच्छी है, तो इसलिए आए हैं वो लोग. वरना वो लोग घर से नहीं निकलते.
100%.
वो लोग टीवी देखते हैं घर पे. उनको थिएटर लाने के लिए वर्ड ऑफ माउथ, उन्होंने सुना होगा कि इमोशनल पिक्चर ड्रामा है. सो अगर वो कॉम्बिनेशन मिल जाए एक पिक्चर को, then nothing like it. Then you've got the entire spectrum of the audience.
Basically cover everything.
You cover everybody. So that is key, I think. But क्या होता है, sometimes you want to make an action film जो सिर्फ action हो. So then that also, then just do that right. And then give them action that just satisfies your target audience. Fully. So वो हम एक पिक्चर बना रहे हैं अभी, रैम्बो बना रहे हैं next, and so that is going to cover that. Action is going to be insane action. रोहित धवन डायरेक्ट कर रहे हैं. And he has some crazy stuff in mind, so I get very excited. तो वो action वाली picture होगी, तब बात करेंगे कि you should say, you should tell Rohit, wow, क्या action दिया है.
Of course. And sir, you know, when we talk of the output, I think you started Fighter in November 2022, and you released it in Jan 24, which is 1 month, 1 year and 2 months. And the output we see on the screen, it's spectacular on the visual front. How did you pull that off? Because and I saw one of your tweets, you said it is 100% made in India. So,
but I'm glad you brought it up, Himesh. यार ये again हमने realize किया ये दिसंबर में, last month कि what have we pulled off in a year. It is incredible. अभी अगर मैं सोचूं आज एक पिक्चर शुरू करने के लिए और मैं अगले जनवरी रिलीज करूं, impossible है. Impossible. Imagine last year same date Pathan came out. And I was in the screening of Pathan, and same date I was in the screening of Fighter 1 year later. I just realized, what have we done? How did we do it? Or ऐसी picture, it's like, I think miracle, God, everyone just came together, universe came together and helped Fighter come out like this. I mean, it's just a miracle. Miracle, that's the word.
But do you get anxious when, you know, because VFX itna sara, it's a high on VFX film. Of course, deliveries ऊपर नीचे होते ही रहते हैं. Does that make you anxious and what's your process of dealing with VFX?
Yeah, VFX as a filmmaker now, that because I've done, I probably am one of the filmmakers who've really made VFX heavy films. That's one component that is out of your control. Out of your control, where you are dependent on an army of people. So it's a little unnerving कि यार क्यों नहीं कर सकते ये? अच्छा ये चेंज करना शाम को दे दो मेरे को यार. So I'm like कि क्यों नहीं हो सकता? Because I'm a guy who can multitask and move things around rapidly. And I'm like, जैसे explain to me, नहीं होता है ऐसे. इसको हमें comp करना है, animate करना है, render करना है. Render को बहुत time लगता है. तो I've learned the process. VFX का process, which I had no idea of the technicality of it. I knew क्या करना है. Fighter made me get down to the basis of it to understand how it is done, and now I'm very happy and satisfied that मैं ये एक और aspect filmmaking का समझ गया हूँ, जो मेरे को आइडिया नहीं था कि कैसे होता है। मेरे को पता है ये VFX करना है, क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, मैं सीख गया हूँ फाइटर में।
Correct.
So it's something which is out of your control. You have an army of people who are doing it, but they are specialized in it. तुम घुस के कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे. They have to do it. So what happened with Fighter is that it's also a landmark film in the sense that end credits में 11,500 लोगों को credit दिया है हमने. So we've seen it 3 times. You told me just now.
Yeah.
See the end credits. There are 11,500 names on the film. No Indian film, I don't think even internationally, has 11,500 credits. 11,500 लोगों के नाम है उस पिक्चर में. So how expansive and detailed the film is.
Wow, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons you had an army of people working who were able to pull it off
in a year.
Yeah. And so, you know, when we look at the introductory sequences of your film with Hrithik, you know, there are so many films जहाँ पे कितना कुछ होता है एक introduction scene के लिए. But when you direct Hrithik, it's just his walk. In Bang Bang, he comes with the diamond in the hand. In War also, it's just a walk. And even in Fighter, it's a walk. Yeah. What's your take on Hrithik and walks?
Yeah, I think it's a coincidence यार हिमेश. मुझे realize तब हुआ जब मैं Fighter shoot कर रहा था. हाँ. कि again he's walking. But just glory देखो उसमें यार. Look at the reaction in the theaters when he just gets off and he stands on the top of the Sukhoi. Yeah. It's just people erupt. Yeah. It just turns out to be coincidental. Yeah. And every time it becomes a spectacle. So again lot of things coming together allow a spectacle with a man just walking. So whether it's coming out of chopper, coming out of a Sukhoi, walking with a diamond. Yeah. It's just some कुछ है destiny I think कि just walk कराएंगे. Normally otherwise in Pathan's intro was an action scene. Yeah. But with Hrithik, every time it's a walk. So I don't know what it's.
But it leaves an impact always.
Yeah, I mean, it's Hrithik, the way he looks, what he does with himself, the personality that he is. He works very hard. I mean, if you see Hrithik off camera and you see on camera, it's two different people because it's a full tamjham that goes within himself to become prop himself to be who he is on screen. It's incredible how he does it to himself.
But, you know, the transitioning film for you from rom-com to action was Bang Bang. And that was the film, you know, your first collaboration with Hrithik as well. Was it difficult to convince him for Bang Bang? Do you remember how did that Keeda for action come? And how did you convince him and how did your equation, like yours and Hrithik's equation, evolve from there on?
So there are 3 parts to it then. Yeah. One is my evolution, one is convincing Hrithik. Yeah. And the third one is the
transition
from rom-com to first one is I didn't plan it. I got the offer to remake Night and Day. Yeah. And I remember very clearly. I was making Anjana Anjani. I was in my office. Yeah. And Ranbir was with me. And Night and Day ka trailer aaya tha. And I was seeing it on my laptop and I called Ranbir, see this trailer. New trailer of Tom Cruise's film, and we saw it. We were blown by the trailer, the action, the bike chase, and everything. And I was like, "Wow, what is this action?" I remember seeing it that time. Yeah. And Anjana Anjani came in 2010, and 2 years later, Fox called me up to remake Night and Day, and I'm like,
coincidence.
What a coincidence that we would like you to remake Night and Day. So I called them, we met, and I didn't ask them. Yeah. But I thought to myself, I would think of me. I'm a rom-com filmmaker. I don't know what they thought because maybe because of the scale that I bring to my rom-coms. They thought that I'll be the right guy for it. And so what? Of course, then I said, the film is okay, but I will do my take on it. Yeah. So then I asked them for the earlier drafts of Night and Day. Yeah. Apparently, the film that they shot was the 17th draft. Ooh. So I asked for all 17 drafts from 1 to 17, and draft 1 and 2 is what we liked actually. Okay. So it had a lot more soul, backstories and stuff like that in draft 1 and 2, which is not in the film. Okay. So then I asked my friend Sujoy and Suresh to come in and help me with the writing of it. So they graciously agreed, and we worked on it for a year and a half. Yeah. And then we had the script. Yeah. That's part 1. Part 2 is getting Hrithik. That's a very funny story.
Yeah.
Funny story, I'll tell you how. Two parts to it also. Break it down.
Yeah.
2012 May, I was watching Agnipath in the theatre.
Okay.
And I was blown by Agnipath.
Yeah.
I was blown. Karan Malhotra, I'm a fan of. Hrithik Roshan, I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Agnipath and the scene where he stabs that guy and says Vijay Deenanath Chauhan on the beach. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. Ek to well crafted and what a performance.
Yeah.
And then when he walks with that red rung on his face, oh my god. And I actually thought that day, sitting in the theatre, when will I get a chance to work with Hrithik Roshan? Yeah. And I've just left that with the universe. When will I get a chance to work with Hrithik Roshan? Okay, हो गया ये part 1 हो गया. उसका part 2 है. I'm sitting in a eye doctor's clinic.
Yeah.
And so when you go to an eye doctor's clinic, you have to dilate your pupil.
Yeah.
तो मैंने ड्रॉप्स डाल दिए और मेरे pupils dilate हो गए, तो मैं अभी सब आउट फोकस है. तो उस टाइम में वेटिंग एट द डॉक्टर्स क्लिनिक और माय वाइफ ममता इज विद मी एंड ऋतिक इज ऑन द कवर ऑफ सम मैगजीन.
Okay.
And so she's reading the magazine. I'm like, pupils are dilated. And she's saying, why haven't you offered Hrithik Night and Day? तब टाइटल नहीं था Bang Bang. तो I said, वो अभी कहाँ वो करेगा? He's got so many things lined up. So she's saying, just send him a text and ask him. I said, नहीं, I'm not asking. I'm not. Let me finish the script, फिर देखते हैं. So she said, okay, whatever. And my pupils are dilated. And suddenly my phone rings, and it's Hrithik Roshan calling. And people out focus में लिखा है Hrithik Roshan is calling. So I'm saying, Mamta, what is this? What has happened? She said, I messaged him. I said, what? While my pupils are dilated, she's taken my phone and texted Hrithik that, hi, I'm Siddharth Anand. And I have a film I want to offer you. It's a remake of Night and Day. ये भेज दिया उसने और फट करके ऋतिक का फोन आ गया मेरे को. And I've taken the phone and Hrithik said, Sid, where are you? So I said, I'm at a doctor's clinic. How soon can you come to my house? So I said, I've yet to. My people are dilated. I'm going to do this. Okay, can we meet in 1.5 hours? I'm taking off from Delhi.
Yeah.
I'll reach my house. By the time you come home, let's just chat. I said, okay. So I'm like, what happened? So she showed me the text. She's messaged Hrithik. Wow. Instantly, Hrithik has called. Obviously, when I've gone inside, told the doctor, whatever my thing is, please remove this. Put the drop. De-dilated. I have to drive to Juhu. I've done that, driven to Juhu, and Hrithik's already waiting at the door for me. So I'm like, what is this excitement? He says, he's opened the door and said, Sid, this is the first time in my life I'm saying yes to a film without reading a script.
Wow.
I'm like, sorry. He says, I just have this feeling, we are doing this film, this is meant to happen. And I'm like, I don't know how it happened.
But it happened.
It just happened, and then we sat and I discussed it with him, and then obviously then we took a 1.5 years after that to work on the script.
Yeah.
But insane, yeah. It's just destiny.
Yeah. And from
destiny.
there
it's that sitting in that Agnipath screening and saying, when will I work with Hrithik Roshan, to my pupils dilated, to Mamta sending that text, which I would have never sent.
Yeah.
I would have never sent that. But she made it happen. She messaged him and he was waiting for the text. It's like the universe was conspiring for me and Hrithik to get together. I don't know how. And look at now, we are like brothers, touch wood. So that's the journey of me and Hrithik coming together.
Thanks to Mamta, she texted that.
I mean, I would have it's all her credit to her. And maybe God used her as a medium for me and Hrithik to come together in life.
So, like you said, last year you had Pathan, which did 500 plus. I think it was the first Hindi film to hit the 500 crore mark. You opened it with Shah Rukh sir.
Yeah.
Whenever a director makes such a big all-time blockbuster, it adds on to the baggage because your next one or everything you do will be compared box office wise to that film.
Correct.
Does that bother you? How do you mentally prepare yourself? Of course, वो number बहुत बड़ा है. It happens, but not every film can reach that.
So I think it's a what do I say? It's a mental shift.
Yeah.
Where after a film you need to shift.
Yeah.
To the other film, because what happens is that you can't. For example, let me go back to Pathan.
Yeah.
I made War, and War was a blockbuster.
Yeah.
And if you look at the timing of War, sorry, I'm going to digress so that you also understand this. With people with time forget a lot of things.
Yeah.
When War came out in 2019, if you do a little R&D, there was no big film doing well.
I remember this. Yeah.
There was no big film doing well. There was a phrase called alternate films are the new commercial films.
Yeah.
All the smaller films, वो छोटे शहरों वाली पिक्चरें
Yeah.
were doing 120, 150 crores.
Yeah.
And the big tentpole films of all major superstars were tanking.
Yeah, yeah.
Do a little R&D on
I
this.
think Super 30 released that year, it did 150. Yeah.
So that's just around then.
Yeah.
So I'm saying there was no tentpole film. Tentpole, I mean big scale films of superstars doing well. None of them were doing well. So when I'm saying that, also audience will do a little research, do this.
Yeah.
So जब war आ रही थी, alternate films were the commercial films and the commercial films were the flop films.
Yeah.
और तब मेरी war आ रही थी. And I'm like यार ये time change हो गया जब मैं war बना रहा हूँ.
हाँ.
And the pressure was on war कि ये भी नहीं चलेगी, भी वही commercial picture जो flop होंगी. And that war changed the narrative.
Yeah.
It did 300 at that point in time, 318 at that point in time when big films were flopping and the smaller films were doing well, 100 plus. And that narrative was changed by war. It became the blockbuster it is. It made me into one of the most celebrated directors, whatever, action films, ये वो and all, जो भी था ताम झाम. And then was coming Pathan. I had to then make another mental shift. कि यार Pathan is another film.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have the pressure of war. सवाल होते थे कि यार war का pressure, will Pathan do war's numbers? So I used to say the same thing. Every film is different. Pathan will have its own journey, whatever it is. और मेरी उम्मीद थी यार ये war का business कर ले. Because traditionally all my films have done better than the previous ones. Say war का business कर ले तो I'm more than happy. So my prayer was कि war को cross कर ले Pathan, थोड़ा सा वो cross कर ले. So my prayer was that. My hope was, desire was that. I mean, fortunately, God's grace, audiences' love took Pathan to another level. But I had adjusted for Pathan also. कि यार ये क्या होगा इस picture का? I hope it does better than war. Now, cut to that later. Cut to now Fighter after Pathan. Again the shift. कि यार now I hope it does this because I have every film is a different beast. And a different entity and its own destiny. Because क्या होता है एक picture में हजारों लोगों की destinies मिली हुई होती हैं. So all the energies are very different of each film. Fortunately now what I'm receiving with Fighter is what I have not received in my entire career. The kind of love, actual love. मतलब my phone has just not stopped. I think मुझे phone change करना पड़ेगा, battery जल जाएगी. God has been so kind. The love that I've got and the fact that an all-round statement that this is my best film. I've never received that. I've never received that kind of adulation and the love that I'm getting. And again, Mamta was the first person to tell me this 2 months ago that Sid, this is your best film. Wow. I'm like, ये तो मेरी बीवी है तो मुझे बोलेगी. But she was talking from a producer's point of view. She's the producer of the film. She said, you've made your best film. And she's a critic of mine. She's not a wife. She's first my critic. And her saying best film, I took it very seriously. And now everybody is saying, this is your best film. So that's the destiny, yaar. Every film has its own destiny.
I believe Rakesh ji also feels it is your best film.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Rakesh ji saw it one day before the release and his reaction just stunned all of us. He was like a child. He just was so excited and happy and I was like, this is so genuine. The fact that he's just loved the film and I mean, film बहुत प्यारी है. So I think it's such a feel-good film that you come out एक तो proud being an Indian, proud being an Indian from a patriotic point of view, and also proud that ये India में ऐसी picture बनी है.
Correct.
I mean, it's just comes together. You can't set out to make a film like Fighter. वो बन जाती है. ऐसी picture India में made in India. Is just you feel proud. वो भी एक layer है pride का कि यार हमने भी ऐसी picture बनाई है. वो ये है Fighter.
And it's an aspirational film. I was watching it with my friends for the second time on the day of release, and one of my friends said, यार हम लोग का इतना बड़ा ग्रुप है बट कोई भी एयरफोर्स नहीं है. ये देख के लग रहा है कि कोई एक होता तो कितना अच्छा लगता.
That's a triumph. That's a triumph. क्योंकि ये hopefully एक avenue खोल देगा opportunity of the youth for employment. Employment. Now you can look at the Air Force as an employment opportunity for the youth. You can see कि यार क्या lifestyle है उनका यार. कमाल है यार. Go to an airbase and see their lifestyle यार. The way they live. I mean, they are superstars यार.
Absolutely. And so this is a new genre which you explored in the action space, in the subset of action, basically a subgenre. Is there any other subgenre which you want to explore? I'm seeing so many comments on Twitter that they want you to make multiple things in the action space. So,
I think मुझसे यार normal picture भी बनाई नहीं जाएगी. I'm bored of repeating myself.
Yeah.
I think that happened to me, Himesh, when I made Anjana Anjani.
Yeah.
Anjana Anjani जब मैंने बनाई ना, मेरे को लगा यार मैं अभी ये genre से अभी मैं थोड़ा ऊब गया हूँ. ये rom-com से. Anjana Anjani was my fourth film in the genre. And at that time, I just made that film almost like autopilot. Autopilot, because I knew exactly कहाँ पर क्या करना है मेरे को. And that is when I realized यार मैं थोड़ा burnout हो रहा हूँ इस genre में. So I had to shift. Fortunately, I shifted to action. And in my action also, I'm trying to just keep challenging myself, and so I don't want that burnout. I want to do something different every time. I'm probably the only director who has made so many action franchises. Only director in the country, and I could have had opportunities to do sequels of all my franchises. But yet I've chosen to make original films every time. And I just don't want to find that comfort space. What I felt in Anjana Anjani, a comfort zone ho gaya tha. I don't want this. So I want to just push myself. Today I'm currently unemployed because I don't know what I'm making next. I just don't know what I'm making next. I want to again be challenged again to see what I can do for the audience, what kind of spectacle I can create. I mean, fortunately, success gives you the platform to be able to do that.
Take the risk, basically.
To take the risk and just dream. Fortunately, God has been very kind. Touchwood, audience has been very kind. God has been very kind that I can give it back. कि when you come to a theatre to see my film, पता है यार कुछ बड़ा मिलेगा देखने के लिए, कुछ बड़ी स्क्रीन का एक्सपीरियंस मिलेगा. सिनेमैटिक यार, मतलब यू सिट विद योर पॉपकॉर्न या तो 3D ग्लासेस डालो, IMAX जाओ, कुछ भी करो, एक बड़ी पिक्चर मजा आएगा देखने के लिए पिक्चर. So I want to keep giving the audience that. I don't want to take that for granted.
Correct.
That's one thing I don't want to do. So I'm really thinking hard and weighing my options of what to do next. So I'm going to take my time.
Okay, but I think you are doing something. You won't say that, but ठीक है. And if you look at your career, you have directed the biggest stars, and very few. See, there are so many great directors. Directing is one task, but directing big stars is another thing which very few in Hindi cinema can ace at. How do you manage to direct big stars, and what are the challenges of doing that?
I think the
big stars successfully, I'll say.
Oh, so again there are two parts. First is directing them,
and second is successfully.
See, second part I'll answer first. Successfully आपके हाथ में नहीं है. Successfully आपके हाथ में बिल्कुल नहीं है. Successfully is all in the hands of the audience. So and a lot of luck, lot of blessings, prayers, everything. So वो success, it's not कि आप IIT के एग्जाम्स के लिए पढ़ रहे हो और आपके हुनर के ऊपर है कि मैंने जितनी पढ़ाई की उतना मैं लिखूंगा. यहाँ नहीं है वो. यहाँ पर lot of luck is there. Lot of blessings, luck, work, success for success. Hard work सब करते हैं. So that I'll put aside to blessings.
Okay.
Directing big stars. I think the trick in that, Himesh, what I have, because I am actually a third generation industry kid, and I have grown up with being around actors, I don't look at them in awe. I look at them as colleagues. And I look at them as my artists on a set. So the thing is that I don't have any jhijak in telling them, can you please do it this way? Because we are all working for the film. So if you're in awe, you can't tell them what to do.
True.
So then there's a problem. So the way I look at directing big stars is to look at them as technicians and artists working for the bigger thing, which is the film.
True.
And they recognize that. And they can also see through people who are the yes men. They know कि ये this मतलब ये मेरी बात सुन रहा है. There they lose respect. You have to have a voice. I am very strongly opinionated. Very strongly. I'm stubborn. And I'm very clear in what I want to make. Very, very clear. But yet, I listen. The trick of being a director is that you have the power of veto. So what you should do is listen to everybody. and I can't tell you, everybody gives me an opinion.
Okay.
Everybody. Because I'm so open. कोई भी आके मुझे कुछ भी बोल सकता है set पे. वो बोलते हैं. सब बोलते हैं. And the best part is sometimes I use their things also.
Yeah.
And I really am open because कहीं ना कहीं से good suggestion आ जाएगा. मैं सबकी सुनता हूँ. सबकी. But power क्या है? Veto का. कि करना तो decide तो मैंने करना है. So you should not have an ego. ए प्लीज मत बता मेरे को, वो कभी मत बोलना. Be open to it because they are all coming with the intention of helping your film.
Yeah.
So I listen to everybody.
Yeah.
And also with the humility that I can make the choice.
Yeah.
So listen to everybody. That is a strength. And the actors also know that eventually Sid will do what he wants.
Yeah.
And not by ki bhai I am the director. It's by reasoning. It's very important to have a reason why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I can also say there are many times with all my actors that I've had a point of view shared. For example, they come and say, I want to do it like this.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% certain that's wrong. 100% certain that's wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't say, listen, I want it this way. I have to reason it out with them.
Yeah.
And tell them why. And win them over. And tell them this is why it needs to be done. I say, oh, okay, I'll do it that way. Or, nahi Sid, I have to do it this way. And I'm like, okay, हाँ, you're right. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Fighter का example दूँ. There's a scene where an incident happens in the second half. Don't say it so audience खराब ना हो जाए. Where Anil Kapoor sir comes into the office and he has to say, in my opinion, what I want. जानवर है साले. He's angry. But he came in and said, I want to do a scene broken and do it that जानवर है साले. And say it with emotion, not with anger. And at first I said, I want to sin. And I realized, oh my God, the take he's bringing in is outstanding. The way he's doing it. And I hugged him and said, you have lifted this emotion to a point where I couldn't have done it. I recognized it.
Yeah.
So you have to have no ego as a director.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah.
And hear everything. And I told him, done. And that's very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare. But I love it that somebody adds to the film with their मतलब कि an actor कितना सोचता है. That you also have to recognize.
Yeah.
Actor prepare होके आता है, सोच के आता है. So don't just say no. Please
out.
hear them out.
Yeah.
And then he did the scene. It's outstanding. मैंने क्या किया ना? मैंने उस scene में कुछ BGM नहीं रखा. Silent. Ambience for the sound. Room का ambience रखा मैंने. And I let the performance shine.
Yeah. And that's a brilliancy.
So it's just unbelievable. So you have to be open to it. Yeah. That's important with stars. That's when the big stars को करना भी, you have to recognize where they're coming from. They're also coming with no ego.
Yeah.
They are not coming to say कि मैं star हूँ. They're all coming as a film. So you also recognize that. Look at them as equals. Don't have any one-upmanship with anybody. And then it will work best for the film.
And every director sees things in the hindsight. Is there any film of yours which you would direct differently in today's time? Because you have also evolved through.
You know, that I look at it as a great quality. I look and learn as much from my successes as from my failures.
Yeah.
And more so from my successes.
Okay.
I learn more from them. So I learned from war. What is there to learn from war? I learned what I didn't do in war. Okay. What I didn't do in war. I didn't have that much entertainment in war. Humor.
Which you put in.
कौन अपने सक्सेस से बोलता है कि यार मैंने ये नहीं किया.
You
try to replicate it. I don't look at that. I look at जो मैंने नहीं किया. मैंने entertainment नहीं लाया वहाँ पर. तो मैं वो entertainment पठान में ले आया. I brought the humor in Pathan. So you keep learning. I always want to dissect it. कि मैंने क्या नहीं किया.
Correct.
तो अभी मैं फाइटर को भी dissect करूँगा कि मैंने क्या अलग करना था. And I'll apply it. That's the way you grow. Yeah.
And you are very active on Twitter. There's a different personality that you have over there.
My family is very upset. My son tells me you don't know how to handle social media. It should not be in your hand. He wants to delete my Twitter account. But I have a lot of fun. I love responding to criticism.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I love it. I'm telling you, yaar, I'm someone who wants to grow.
Yeah.
And I find people जिसने कुछ negative बोला है, now ask क्यों बोल रहा है ये negative? And अच्छा ये नहीं मजा, चल अब मैं तेरे को मजा दूंगा. I want him to become my fan.
Yeah.
I want him to become my fan.
Yeah.
I don't want to antagonize him.
Yeah.
I don't say, क्या बोल रहा है तू? I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to ask, अच्छा नहीं लगा, I'll try again. ये मैं बोलता हूँ हमेशा. Oh, you didn't like it? Shall I try again?
Yeah.
मैं ये बोलता हूँ उनको.
Yeah.
I love it because I want to grow. I want to find the criticism. That's the only growth, यार.
Correct.
और मैं करता हूँ ये.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen you reply on Twitter. It's fun. It's a lot. Initially तो सबको लगा था वो account ही fake है, but then yeah.
Fake account है. It is a fake account.
That's a secret. Yeah. Have you read the entire discourse on Lord Sid tag on Twitter? How do you view that?
I mean, it's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing, but I think it's just it's fun.
Yeah.
I think out of jest they do it.
Yeah.
So you should not take it seriously. So it's mazak mein hai sab. So yeah, bas. So
But industry people also call you so many. I think it has reached
mazak mein. They tease me because of that. I just want this tag off. I don't know how to do it. Can you please help?
I'll
Please get this tag off. Yeah. Director Sid is still better.
Director Sid.
Yeah,
or just Sid, I think.
Sid rakh de yaar.
Yeah.
Simple. Kara de yaar.
I think people will read this
Please,
and
remove that tag.
Yeah. And Sid, you know, there are so many people, like even right now when Fighter has released, there are so many people who want to see Hrithik in a rom-com space. Action, he has aged it. It has been a while since he has done a rom-com. And I think I have seen tweets of people tagging you as well. That can you ever make a rom-com with Hrithik? Maybe a mature rom-com. It can be a genre break for you.
मैं तो हर पिक्चर के दौरान ऋतिक को बोलता हूँ यार लेट्स डू अ रोम-कॉम एंड ही इज रेडी. यार प्रॉब्लम है कि मेरे पास स्टोरी नहीं है.
हाँ.
आई एम डाइंग टू डू. एक्चुअली यू नो व्हाट, आई माइट वांट टू जस्ट ब्रेक आउट ऑफ दिस एक्शन एंड डू अ रोम-कॉम. गो टू अ नाइस प्लेस. पूरी पिक्चर से सलाम नमस्ते बनाई थी मैंने. आई शिफ्टेड टू ऑस्ट्रेलिया फॉर 3 months. वहाँ जाके 3 महीने में पिक्चर बना के आ गया था. आई वांट टू डू अ नाइस लाइट हार्टेड रोम-कॉम यार. बट ऑडियंस देखेगी, तुम लोग देखोगे पिक्चर रोम-कॉम मेरी, वो मुझे पता करना है कि ओनली एक्सपेक्टिंग एक्शन. वो भी तकलीफ है.
आई थिंक देखेंगे. आई थिंक वो जॉनर ब्रेक हो गया बिकॉज नाउ पीपल नो व्हाट टू एक्सपेक्ट फ्रॉम यू एज वेल. वो स्केल, म्यूजिक, यू विल मेक अ, यू वोंट मेक अ स्मॉल रोम-कॉम, यू विल मेक अ बिग वन.
सो कहीं ना कहीं से कहानी ले आ मेरे लिए यार. ले आ, मैं कर दूंगा
रोम-कॉम.
डन. आई एम टेलिंग ऋतिक फॉर एजेस नाउ लेट्स डू अ रोम-कॉम. एजेस. And he'll be so good in a rom-com.
Yeah.
He's not done one. Yeah.
He's not.
Rom-com नहीं यार, उसका एक लव स्टोरी करते हैं, एक अच्छी लव स्टोरी. मजा आएगा ऋतिक के साथ.
Yeah, it would be fun.
ऋतिक, you listening?
Last couple of questions. This is Marflix का I think first production.
जी.
How do you plan to expand Marflix as a banner? What are the plans like?
I think the idea is to make some good action films here.
Yeah.
That's a space that I think I found my calling in.
Yeah.
And we're starting out. Yeah, we have some decent fun films.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll see some fun action films coming out of Marflix, God willing.
Correct. So basically lots of announcement in.
Not lots.
Some of them.
Some of them. I don't believe in quantity.
Yeah.
I actually want to. I'm like a small boutique production house where I want to do put all my energy and efforts into any film we are doing.
Yeah.
So we are actually doing a fun action film with Saif Ali Khan and Jaideep Alawat.
Yeah.
It's a quirky film, and all my energy now is directed towards that. Then we are producing Rambo.
Yeah.
And that's Rohit Dhawan directing with Tiger Shroff.
Yeah.
And that's going to be hopefully. It's a title that is very entrenched in people's minds.
Yeah.
So we want to make it a definitive action film.
Yeah.
So we have some exciting plans for Rambo.
Yeah.
Soon, I think, एक महीने में you will hear what we are doing with Rambo.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be killer.
Nice. Yeah. We have been hearing about it, so that's a
killer in the little word.
Yeah, of course. That's what Rambo stands for.
Rambo will be. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And what next for you as a director? When do you start?
I'm unemployed.
When do you want to start?
मेरे पास नौकरी नहीं है आज.
Lying.
आज से मैं unemployed हूँ. इसलिए मैं सुबह आराम से सो सकता था. मेरे पास काम नहीं है. As a director काम नहीं है मेरे पास. So
I think Adi sir will hear this and he'll be like that. You have to make one film for me.
मैं काम ढूंढ रहा हूँ आज. सब सुन लो यार producers. मैं काम ढूंढ रहा हूँ.
And lastly, do you plan a franchisee out of Fighter?
Yeah, that audience will decide.
Yeah.
अभी देखते हैं, अभी 3 ही दिन हुए हैं.
हाँ.
I think audience का प्यार will decide what we'll do.
Yeah.
And we'd love to make a Fighter into a larger story.
Yeah.
We have some great ideas that we want to put it down to. I'd never get excited to make part 2s.
Yeah.
I'm not at all. I'm the last person who will make I'm probably one of the few directors who's not made a sequel yet.
Yeah.
I mean, every director in this country, rather one of the top directors in the country, have all made sequels. There's no director who's not made a sequel.
Actually, yeah.
So I'm probably the only one who's not made a sequel,
Yeah.
and I'm refraining from that.
Yeah.
I don't want to make sequels yet. Yet. It's never say never.
Yeah.
As of now, I'm not excited to make sequels. I want to keep creating
new characters
and new stories.
Yeah.
Otherwise, क्या होता है ना? There's a certain comfort zone in sequels.
Yeah.
You start relying on the nostalgia of the.
You try to recreate
and try and match that.
Yeah.
वो मेरे को मजा नहीं. That's where my stagnation will happen. That's where I'll stagnate.
Yeah.
I feel that. I may be wrong.
Yeah.
But I want to just keep challenging myself. Sequel is, I feel, a very comfort space. और मुझे comfortable नहीं होना.
Correct. On that note, thank you so much. It was lovely speaking to you. And congratulations on Fighter. I truly loved it.
Thank you.
And I've seen it thrice, like I told you before the interview. So I hope more people go and watch it through the run. It has a long run, I think, a month long. So
God willing, man.
Yes.
God willing. All right.
And thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks,
thank you.
Thank you, man.